2 races into 2024, and we have a lot of talking points to go over with the Jeddah Grand Prix. A lot of banger drives that really caught my eye. Now, there were some negative ones, but there are definitely some things to dissect from our second Grand Prix of the year. We had Alonso do an exceptional drive in an Aston Martin car that's probably 5th right now onto the grid. Oscar Piastri with another great drive in Saudi Arabia, this time with 0 damage thankfully, and beating out Lando Norris. We had Lewis Hamilton and George Russell completely suffer in the first sector with this Mercedes car. Max is still in a class of his own, but Perez had a much better drive, and what this really tells me is that Ricciardo's struggles now plays a big factor into what's going to happen for 2025. Ricciardo has not felt like himself under this car, and Yuki has been the driver a step ahead right now. I have a lot of faith in Ricciardo, and it's only 2 races in, but it's not looking like that 2025 seat is really going to be his. K-Mag also pulled off an insane defensive masterclass from a master plan in Haas to score their first point of the year and actually be P6 in the constructors because of that K-Mag defensive masterclass. Now, yes, it was a bit dirty, but K-Mag was a beast out there. You gotta admit, with 20 seconds of penalties, he did exactly what he needed to do to provide Nico that point. But the biggest talking point, and the one that I was most entertained through for the weekend, is Ollie Bearman taking Carlos's seat because of appendicitis and scoring points on his debut, P7 that at it. Carlos Sainz had appendicitis, and we know that this same problem arose for Alex Albon in 2022. Now for Alex, it was an extreme case because the surgery almost actually caused him to die. It was a very bad situation over there. Something was going wrong, and it looked very bad and fatal for some moments for Alex Albon during the 2022 season around Monza time. But Nick de Vries ended up actually getting the drive for Monza. I think he stepped in on FP1, 2, and 3, but was still an impressive drive, scored points on debut. But I think this Ollie Bearman performance is just that much more. The two can be compared because Nick de Vries did get a drive, and I think that this secures Ollie Bearman's seat in 2025. Thankfully, Carlos Sainz is okay, and already after appendicitis, was first day on the track. Now, he was walking funny, but I mean, coming out of surgery, stepping up already, it's good to see him be out there like a warrior and congratulate Ollie Bearman on the performance. Drives like this are defining, and as Ollie Bearman put it, it's a job interview. Firstly, we saw him in FP3 hop in, so this guy didn't even get a real performance like FP2 to try and step it up in quali. In FP3, he did a couple of laps. You could tell that he was getting into the groove of driving, but around lap 3 or 4, he was already with the top dogs like Fernando Alonso, Max. He was already stepping up and being pretty comparative to his teammate Charles Leclerc. Now after FP3, we got into qualifying, and this is where we were going to see if Ollie Bearman has got what it takes. Now in qualifying, it's all about driver confidence, and a quote that I love from Ollie Bearman is, he says, in F2, the car is the limit, and it makes a lot of sense. But in F1, the driver is the limit. Now, when he says a quote like this, that doesn't mean that now Kevin Magnussen can overtake Max Verstappen in the Haas, because the driver does make the difference in the lap time, but overall car performance is something that teams need to be working on to actually catch other drivers. What he is trying to say is the overall downforce levels makes it to where the driver can make the difference. In F2, there's a certain peak to how fast you can drive those cars. They have a lot of weight on them, but also because they're not aerodynamically inclined like these F1 cars are. They're sticking into those corners like all of Sector 1 in Jeddah, so you make the big difference on confidence and braking. And he did a damn good job in qualifying. Got out of Q1 and almost knocked out Lewis Hamilton in Q2 to get into Q3. It was a very close one, and to even be to that level is impressive that in itself, because it's his first time really driving this car to the limit, and as I said, confidence is key here, and you don't build confidence overnight. It takes a little bit to get used to these cars. We've seen that through every other driver, but it was quite the impressive performance. But where he really impressed me was in Jeddah, a 27 corner race with lots of deadly corners, and if you take them the wrong way, you're straight into the wall. Not a single flaw in the race. Performed well in high fuel, medium fuel, and low fuel. Now, he was a little tentative going into the first corner, as Most drivers really are anyways, but he had a great start and throughout the whole entire race actually kept up with Charles Leclerc's race pace and wasn't far off. He was getting into the numbers with Alonso and George Russell and really made the difference in keeping that P7 position. The race toned itself down towards the mid part of the race and he could really get into a rhythm. But with drivers like Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton in front of him, it was time for him to step up in a big pressure moment for the Ferrari team that at it, which is probably the highest the high job interviews. This is like the top dog of interviews. You're interviewing with the team that has the biggest legacy, the heritage that Ferrari comes with. There's always pressure in some sort of way for the Ferrari team, whether you're the driver, the team principal, the CEO. It's one of those teams that everybody looks at when you think of Formula One. And Ollie Bearman did just that, performed under pressure. He had his Kobe Bryant moment, as I would explain it. He did very well. He kept back Lando and Lewis Hamilton, so a 7-time world champion and a star in Formula One currently. He did a great job, put in the laps that he needed to on already pretty worn tires. Now Leclerc did have that step up in the whole race. Obviously, he is the more experienced driver and he is Charles Leclerc. But Ollie Bearman was within 4 to 5 tenths throughout the whole entire race and towards the end was within 3 tenths consistently on lap-to-lap basis off of race pace. He finished a P7, got congratulated by the whole entire grid, Lewis Hamilton giving him a fist bump, George Russell also being there and getting out of the car, and overall a great experience for the rookie in Formula One, and in my opinion, securing a seat, but not with Ferrari. I do think it's going to be with Haas. Now there are 2 drivers there, Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, so he's not going to just go in there and take their seats right away, but he has now given Haas an ultimatum pretty much. These 2 drivers are competing for 1 seat at the Haas team, which looks much more impressive than they did last year, and Ollie Bearman taking the other. It was already said by the Ferrari officials that he was impressive, and while Gunther was at Haas, he even stated that Ollie Bearman was somebody that they were looking into and that they would give rookies a chance. Both Kevin and Nico have their strengths. Kevin is the better race pace driver. Nico is the better qualifying driver. Both have a lot to show, I think, in F1, and both have been very competitive drivers throughout their whole entire career. One's aggressive, the other one is pretty much a passive driver, but both are very good drivers in their own aspects. I do think Ollie Bearman is a next level F1 driver and definitely deserves a shot here with the big dogs and really in Formula One in general. What is your guys' opinion on Ollie Bearman's debut? You think it warranted enough? Was it a great job interview as Ollie Bearman states it? I think it was pretty damn good, and I think that this driver will get himself a seat in 2025. I feel like it's pretty secured, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What was your opinion on Ollie Bearman, and did he do enough in the SF24? For a rookie, it was pretty damn good and extracted what was there for the potential. But as I said, leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.